a leader that has done over $15 million worth of real estate in 2022, and every year his business grows. So it doesn't happen overnight. It does take a lot of hard work. And I want you guys to listen and get excited today because he uses a lot of these tools that we have here at Berkshire Hathaway where there's no fees involved. So we're not talking about a lot of out of pocket. We're talking about a lot of repetition. Hey, Brad. And we're talking about a lot of hard work. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert Allen, go ahead. I need to get my notebook and take some notes. All right.
Is Wendy sitting right in front of the camera?
Oh, I forgot. No. Oh, okay. So sorry.
I'm recording because I like gadgets and it's used to use my gadgets. And also, it's think about this, especially with KD Core, and there's some things to whereby if you can do things once and record it, that saves you a lot of time. So I'm giving you the opportunity. It should work to show how you can use KD Core and get creative. I'm going to give you my KD Core number. I'm going to give you a special code to text, and you should get a response with some of the extended versions of what I'm going to go through. Because I got a lot to cover, and I want you guys to get the information. So there are a couple of videos that I've done with my team on a couple of things. I'll send links to that. So keep that in mind. Just going to do something, do it once, record yourself. Especially if you're explaining something to a client, record yourself. And you can actually set up stuff in KD Core will automatically send them what you do. So I am recording. I normally never do a slide. I just always do a presentation. So let me actually try to do a slide. So if I mess up, forgive me. All right. Cool. I got my notes. I'm gonna go quick.
Do you need me to do your slides or you got it?
I should be able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You swipe from your phone?
No. But I got notes. So I don't want. I have good information. I don't want to miss any of it. All right. So get started. Have any of you ever had someone say, "I love you"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you ever checked back maybe 6 months later and found out they were lying? So sometimes it's a lie because they don't know what love is. They never received it. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to give it. Other times it's they don't care enough to really try and put in the effort it takes to do it. And then other times it's it's just casual, really. They said something that they didn't really mean. So I say that because you can understand I've got a daughter. I don't want anyone saying something to her, hurting her feelings, lying to her. But I also have a sister. And I know that many of us will tell her our plans and what we plan to do, what our goals are, and all of that kind of good stuff. And then when we check back 6 months later, I want to see if it was true. Did you mean what you said? And so for a lot of us as realtors, it's not that we don't mean it. It's not that we aren't trying to accomplish what we said we want to accomplish. Sometimes it's we don't know how to. We don't know the steps. Or we're not motivated because we don't know how. Sometimes the will to do comes from knowing how to do. So hopefully it's going to be simple and it's going to be information that helps you know how to do the simple stuff that it takes to be successful as a realtor. All right. So how to average one closing per week. It's real simple. Or actually, what's the number one secret to success in real estate? That actually is real simple. Any guesses on what the number one secret is?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Relationships.
Relationships. All right. So the number one secret to success in real estate is.
Work.
So I've had some. Anybody ever met an agent who you didn't like their attitude, or you can't understand how in the world they're successful? Or people that get on your nerves, but they're selling houses left and right. Well, their secret is that they work. They do. They don't know this. You can not know scripts. You can not have a CRM. You can not have all kinds of stuff. But if you actually just work, you can fumble your way into success. So I don't know. I was going to talk about some people, but there is somebody I had in mind who came in and outsold me, and nobody was really a fan of them. And the difference was that he took one principle that was taught through Berkshire and worked it hard. And within like 3-4 years was doing $20 million a year. So again, work. That's the number one secret. All right. So again, I think that's the word like love. You can know the say I love you. How do you show it? How do you do it? What does the work need to look like? Okay. So one thing is a winning schedule. So what does that look like? A winning schedule for most people is, you gotta have a morning routine. You gotta wake up, you gotta get energized, you gotta get your body moving. Inspiration and mindset is very important. The second part is getting into the office, and the first thing that you need to do is the most important thing, which is prospecting. Really, it should be the 80-20 rule, which is 20% of your day spending some time on prospecting. And what that looks like is, 8:30 to 11:30, 9 to 11. Even if you just have to get in just an hour, that first part of your day is to prospect. Second part of your day is, you do have to return phone calls and do paperwork, things of that nature, do training, all that kind of good stuff. You notice this training started at 10, so we've had time to prospect for the day, the number one thing to do. And I'll show you what that looks like and who to call and how to call and how to make it easy. And then save your afternoons for appointments. Obsess about making your appointments in the afternoon. Because if you start making your appointments in the morning and you don't prospect, you'll eventually not have appointments to go on. So you need to be that committed to prospecting that I don't care if it's a $10 million listing appointment that comes up and they go, we meet at 9 a.m. You might not get the listing, or it might not ever sell, and you just missed 2 hours of prospecting and you could have got 5 more leads. So you need to be anal and fanatical about keeping that prospecting in the morning, and then obviously family time and all that kind of good stuff. So schedule, that's what the schedule needs to look like for a successful agent. Mindset. I wish I had a bigger table so I could follow my notes a little bit better. Also, when I mentioned the KV Core and having a schedule, there's a video that details a little bit more, goes into schedule. So again, I'll give you that code, and you can watch the whole thing to get more details on how to really put together a winning schedule. Winning mindset. So mindset's really important. There are a couple of examples I could go into, but like I said, I probably need to go fast to get through all of this. And I think one of the things to maybe focus on is watch your conversation. Watch what you're saying, because what you're saying is what you're thinking. And the way that you control your destiny is with your thoughts. Your thoughts determine what you say, determine what you do, and your actions determine where you're going to end up. So keep that in mind. You got to have a winning mindset. Wendy and I's dad would go downstairs and yell at the top of his voice, "I'm the greatest salesman in the world." He didn't have a CRM, he didn't have training. MLS was black and white books stacked this high that you had to go through to find a house. And he became top salesperson, opened his own company, all that kind of good stuff. And it was really mindset. Come hell or high water, he was going to do whatever it takes to succeed. And that's that kind of attitude and mindset that you have to have. Winning goals. All right, so for winning goals, man, I wish I took better got good notes. Is it possible to get those printed?
You can't see?
Well, it's not, I can read it fine, but I just don't know where I am in my notes, and I don't wanna miss any of my points. Okay. Winning goals. So, a couple of things on goals. Number one, yes, you have to have them, but you know, SMART goals are something that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. I want to be a successful agent isn't a good goal. I want to sell 10 houses isn't a good goal. I want to make $100,000 by the end of this year. That's specific, it's measurable, it's time bound, realistic, all that kind of good stuff. Say I want to sell $100 million by the end of this year, maybe not so. So having some winning goals and whatnot. But the thing with goals that's probably going to be important is how often are you looking at them? How often are they in front of you? Are they up around your house or somewhere? Are you taking a look at them on your mirror? One of the things that when I'm really rocking and rolling is I'm reviewing my goals every Monday. And I'm comparing it to where I am versus what I said I'm going to do. One of the things I was trying to do in the shower this morning is thinking about, because I've looked at my first quarter, preparing for second quarter, trying to see what numbers I have to do to stay on track and whatnot. So I was thinking this morning, okay, where's that business coming from? Because it's on my mind, and my mind's thinking about it. Winning goals. Winning accountability. Let's see if I can cheat. Okay. Winning accountability. So with winning accountability, it's, you know, there's some unicorns out there that just kick butt and just can do stuff and make it happen or whatever. But I think it's going to be key for all of us to step up our accountability. One of the things that I did yesterday, I was prompted last week and followed through on it this week. I actually interviewed with a different coach. I wanted someone that's maybe more aggressive, someone that can be better equipped to help keep me accountable to the stuff I say. We all have Wendy here, and then we all have relationships to where we can partner up and hold each other accountable. But the quote is, when performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. So accountability is a tip and a trick. So when I first joined Berkshire, averaging $2 million a year-ish, maybe before then, a few years before I joined Berkshire, one of the things that really helped me is Deanne Golden was my accountability partner, and she gave me this little spreadsheet, and we tracked certain things like calls, appointments, effort, work. We tracked the different levels and types of work I was doing, and it really kind of helped me get the habits I needed to be successful. And having to report to someone in authority actually maybe cared a little bit more than if I said I'm gonna be accountable to myself. So winning accountability. I know Wendy touches everybody about a business plan, but even setting up saying, hey, each month, each quarter, each week, I think even I've done it with Wendy, I've done it with other brokers, I've done it with coaches, I've done it with my wife, I've done it with friends. Even each week, sending an email of what you say you're gonna do versus what you actually did the previous week, and then saying what your goals are for that week. Doesn't take long for the person that's helping you to look at that, but just the simple fact that you're having to report and be mindful. Human nature, you're not gonna want to say, I did zero of what I said, week after week after week. I had one broker, she kicked me out of her office. Because I wasn't doing what I said I was gonna do. Kept having a meeting with her, and she's like, where's the work? But that stuff helps. And if you're committed to being successful, step up and have some winning accountability.
Can I say one small thing?
Go for it.
What Robert is saying, it comes all the way from the top. I have an accountability form also that I do now myself in my position, and I cannot turn in, I've done zero. And also too, I have an accountability partner that I'm on the phone with every morning at 8:15. So what Robert's saying about that accountability, you guys may wanna look around this room, who's taking the dedication to be here today. Hold each other accountable, make each other accountability partners, because it's exactly where it is coming from. And also in the same aspect, Deanne Golden has to be accountable to Gino Bafari every Monday at 12 o'clock also. So it is not just end with agents. It starts from the top. And being accountable and measuring those goals, you are gonna see results. So, just wanted to let you know, everyone that is successful has a coach and is accountable, ladies and gentlemen.
So I was looking at it, it optimized it from my phone, I couldn't follow it, so I changed it to print layout.
Yeah, you can see now.
Well, it's not that I can see, it's, I actually know where I am.
Oh, okay.
Versus just a bunch of random words. Okay. But yeah, winning accountability. If you take a look at anybody that's truly successful in real estate, they have some level of accountability. Even if it's a wife at home saying, I want to get my hair done. Where's that commission check? Okay. When scheduling, okay. All right, so sphere. So everybody knows about sphere of influence. I beat sphere of influence to death. Sphere of influence is the key. But again, that's a word. What does it mean? How do you act on it? How do you make it easy? You don't want to just keep calling your friends and all that kind of good stuff. So, and this is where I've got the handout.
These papers over here?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So, what I've recently done to try to help my team, and myself, there's not this spreadsheet of like, do this, and this, but a little bit more simple format for how to deal with your sphere and how to keep it simple. So I'm going to briefly go over three plans to do for your sphere.
And this is, I'm sorry, this is how you generate a sphere, correct?
Yes and no. So for those that don't know, I'm trying to think if I can add training on sphere. For those that don't know, sphere is, you're walking in the grocery store. Somebody I just added to, can I have a copy too, please? I've got to add somebody to my sphere from last week. Haven't seen him in years, like probably a couple decades. But he probably sees me on social media. And his son was at school across the street. He came down to check out the golf courses that been the classes for kids. We saw each other and he recognized my name. That guy's in my sphere because he knows who I am. So it's anyone, obviously your friends, but anyone that knows you and that you know, even if they have to think about it for a second, that person's in your sphere. So the goal is to get to a minimum of 200. You can get to 200 and do the things that I'm mentioning here. That's how you get the majority of your sales. Depending on how we do on time, I'm actually going to break down how this stuff I'm telling you works. Look at some of my transactions and tell you and point to the stuff I'm showing you of how it works. And I've got to do something with them. But all right, so the standard is something that you should do for everybody that's in your sphere with a minimum goal of 200 people. And it's real simple. So speaking to them once a quarter, 4 times a year. Write them a handwritten note at least once a year. Social media touches at least once a month. Personal newsletter at least once a month. A market report twice a month. CMA twice a year. And a birthday call, text, and social media shout out. That's a total of 58 touches. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do that in a way that is easy and feels more comfortable. Because you can understand that if you touch someone 58 times in a year, and they know you're in real estate, they are likely to think of you when they're going to sell. So I'll tell a few examples. I'm in here working on a Saturday or right before New Year's or something like that, and somebody gave me a call and said, there's a house, here it is, here's the Zillow. I think I want to do an offer on it and see, or whatever. It was $500,000, it was right around the corner from here. And I sold that house in January. It helped me have a great year. Well, I hadn't talked to them about real estate in for forever, but because they are touched in different ways, you know, couples talk all the time. They have been talking and talking and talking, and for some reason just loved this house and said they want it. So I just sold them that $500,000 house, and I'm going to list their house and hopefully sell it for $500,000 right there. But because when they thought real estate, as many realtors as they know, they gave me a call. So that's how business gets easy. So the call, just an example of how to maybe do a little bit of that with the call is start off the year. A really good script is check in and see how they're doing. And hey, just real quick, I'm actually planning out some vacation time for the family and I this year. And you know, before I booked a couple of trips, wanted to know if you might have any real estate needs you're thinking about coming up this year, so that I can make sure that I'm in town. Real easy, simple script. You know, happy 4th of July, something like that, when you have events. So one of the things that I did last year was a reading challenge. Put together a reading challenge, hey, encouraging kids over the summer to read, all that kind of good stuff. Made a little flyer, and if kids read and did a reading log at least once a week or something like that, I offered the kids a Chick-fil-A gift certificate. But what happens with events is that's a real easy conversation. I'm not selling you real estate. Hey, I want to encourage kids. They don't have kids. Hey, if you're any of your nieces or nephews interested in doing this in the office, Chick-fil-A coupons or whatever for kids that participate in this or whatever. That's a call. That's real easy. That's not salesy, and all that kind of good stuff. Another good thing is Ford. If you've taken Ninja, you know about Ford, which is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, desires. So how's your family? How's work? Doing anything this weekend for fun? You know, whatever their dreams, if you know them well. Whatever. Those are easy conversations to have. Handwritten notes. I'm going to share something with you that I'm doing, and it's really effective. Didn't Daddy write a lot of handwritten notes?
I wrote Daddy's handwritten notes.
Yeah, so Dad handwriting. And I not only have his name, but I have his bad handwriting too. So my wife writes my notes. I email them to her in the morning. And when she's busy or I want to make sure something gets out that day, don't make excuses, guys. I go to simplynoted.com and a couple other websites for $2-3. They have a machine that will do handwriting, and you can choose what the handwriting looks like, and they will handwrite the card for you. So there's 2 people I gotta submit because one is Kelly's good friend, and they know her handwriting, so I'm gonna have a machine. So I'm still embarrassed about my own handwriting. So, you know, there's ways to do this. And then on the thing that I'm going to send you is a video of me showing the Robert Allen team how to do your social media. So just real quick, it's, you can go to your friends, and there's different ways you can do it. You can go by alphabet, you can put it into your KB core and just let it remind you, or you can keep it real simple, just follow your friends, or you can create a list of your sphere of influence. And you can go through, let's say, I don't know, just because I'm not great at math, let's say you've got 100 and there's 10 days in that month that you don't work and you want to touch everybody that month, then that's 10 people a day. Well, you go to your list that you've created of your sphere, you right click, open a tab on the first, right click, open a tab on the second, right click, open a tab. And so you open 10 tabs for the first 10 people, go to tab 1, look through their feed, see if they've said anything interesting, see if you can like something, see if you can comment on something, see if they have anything going on of interest that's worth sending them a card saying congratulations. I saw one of my clients had a baby, I didn't know, I got to send her something saying congratulations. And then go to the next tab. You can, in 10, 15 minutes or less, really touch 25 people, 5 days a week.
What tabs are you opening again, Robert?
So it's going to be on the video to give you details, but you go to your friends. You can create lists. So I actually have a list of my sphere of influence contacts, and it puts all of them on a page, like a little icon. I right click on their icon and say open new tab.
And
This is in Facebook. Sorry,
okay.
Facebook. Sorry. That's why I got the video. Facebook will open up the next tab, and then you open up the tab, and you just go from tab to tab to tab. If you stay focused, you can do it in 10, 15 minutes. I've done it and did over 25 people in less than 15 minutes of just commenting and engaging or something like that. Make that 15 minutes of your routine every day. That's 125 people a week that have heard from you. And I don't care if your percentages are 1% that someone thinks of you when they think real estate, because you're always engaging with them. You're never not on their mind when someone mentions real estate. 1% of 125 is not bad if you're trying to get leads. Okay. CMA plan. So something I'm doing is like Wealth Journal. Is the thing that I'm starting, and Wealth Journal is chronicling what they bought it for versus what it's worth, so that they can see it. So you can use KB report, all that kind of good stuff. But if you've got 200 people, just do the math. Try to get through everybody in the first quarter, giving them a personalized breakdown of what their home is worth. That's an amazing conversation. The people that called me to sell that $500,000 house and giving me a $500,000 listing, I did that for them about a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago. They got the last report for me. So one of the things that he said, actually I've done the report for them 2 or 3 times, but it might have been a year ago I last did it. And one of the things the husband said is, by far, you're the most knowledgeable realtor that we've ever dealt with. They've listed with other people before, the house didn't sell, they know tons of realtors. But because, getting that phone call was the end result of all this stuff that I've done over the years. And it's $1 million in business like that.
And let me ask, Robert, when you do your CMA, you're using our CRM system to do that CMA? And another question is for our newer agents that don't have a book of business. Of course, if you have a book of business, you're gonna do that CMA for your past clients, like Robert said, before the end of the first quarter.
They weren't past clients.
They were, and you just did it. And I think that's a great example of, you have no business, you know people that own a home. Pick up the phone and ask them would they like a CMA. And that's exactly a result of how you got 2 transactions of just offering what we have here for free.
Yeah. So a real simple skip is, the market's changing, things happen. I would really hate for your insurance not to be up to date with the true value of your home and something happened to it and you not have enough coverage to replace it. Why don't I go ahead and send you this free CMA so you can see what, from a professional opinion, what the value of your home is, and compare that to how much you have the home insured for. Is that salesy?
No.
You want to think about it when you're talking to someone. Can I make them come away from this conversation feeling as though I gave them at least $1? Give them some value. I didn't ask them for business. I didn't ask them to sell their house. I gave them value. So yeah. Birthday call, text, and so the CMA thing, so I'm stepping it up to do it twice a year now, just because the market's changing, so that's another part of my script, I'm committed to this. My passion is to help others create wealth for real estate. I know the market's fluctuating and stuff like this, so that you're up to date. In case, we start to go down, I feel like you should know sooner rather than later. So I'll be out in touch later this year as well, after the market has shifted a little bit, to let you know if that value has changed. One of the things that I learned recently on scripts, and I'm working on scripts, is set the next appointment on your phone call. So you deliver the first CMA, and then you let them know market values are changing because the market is shifting. Know what people are talking about. People are concerned about a crash and stuff like this. So, later this year, after the market has shifted a little bit and we've seen where it's gonna land, I'll do another one, so you know what's going on and if and how the market changes have affected your home's value. Real easy, simple script. But you're also setting the appointment. Let's say, and so the thing with events are great. So I did something called a reverse pop by. A reverse pop by versus what I was doing is just popping by. And I delivered 10 pies one year around Thanksgiving. And out of those 10 pies I delivered, I think 5 or 6 of those people either became clients or made sure they sent their referrals that following year. So I got smart because what ended up happening is I ended up missing half of Thanksgiving with my family driving around Atlanta delivering pies. So the weekend before or the week of, I can't remember when I did it, but I just sent out a flyer and an email and a text to all my clients saying that, love to give you a pie for Thanksgiving. I forget what the exact script was, but something along those lines. And if you're interested here in the type of pies that we have, you'll be able to use KV Core for this. So I had a text system, and I said, if you want an apple pie, text this. If you want an apple pie, text apple. If you want a pecan pie, text pecan. And so people text back which type of pie they wanted, so I knew how many to get. Had about 200 people in my sphere. 10% or so participated. I had to get 20 pies. And they came by my office. I got to connect. There was somebody I connected with I hadn't seen or talked to or whatever in a long time, but they responded to that. They wanted their pie. And what ended up happening is, of course, that's top of mind. But that's another easy conversation. Hey, about to order these pies, just making sure you got my flyer, making sure you saw my email. That's a conversation where you're staying in front of somebody. So events really help. If there's an event going on, or if we ever do a charity or something like that, that's an easy conversation to call someone and talk to them about the event, make sure that they got the invite, or text them, make sure they got the conversations, learn how to make them easy. Right. Birthday, real quick, I'm not going to show it, but one of the things I did is I went through and I categorized all the birthdays I got from Facebook or whatnot. And in my conversation, I'm starting to talk to people, try to get their birthdays for the ones I don't have. But I have, all the birthdays for April. I know what they are. You can go into that same Simply Noted website or other websites that do handwritten cards, and you can either annually, monthly, or weekly look at, okay, cool. I see I got 7 birthdays that I know about coming up in April. I can set the date for when I want them to send it, maybe 7 days before their birthday, and do a handwritten card, happy birthday. The computer system will do it. You press a button. Let's say there's 10 people and it's $30. Those 10 people on time are going to get a personalized happy birthday card in the mail from you. So that's why it's important when you're building your database, ask for their mailing address.
When you talk about your sphere and building your sphere, do you qualify these people? Like, okay, they're a homeowner, they're between this certain age, or like how does that work? Because everybody on my friends list ain't ready to buy no house.
So you still want to because they have friends and coworkers. I was talking to one of my team members the other day, and they were saying that we were talking through the conversation, and they said that 4-bedroom house, such and such. A coworker of mine, they were saying that their friend, their sphere said this. I don't know, it's kind of expensive. A coworker of mine was talking about 4 bedrooms in this area in Atlanta were $1 million. So that person didn't own a home, and they thought that owning a home was unaffordable. And so one of the things that I've recently learned, and that's really helpful, is remove yourself from the finish line. So the finish line is, can I sell you a house? When do you want to get a home? Versus if you remove yourself from the finish line, what makes you think that owning's unaffordable? So Phil Jones, I don't know if he's going to be in my notes, but that's a suggestion. Read his book, exactly what to say for real estate agents. And what happens in that book, he tells you different scripts and types of scripts, because it's not about the script. But one of the lines is, where did you hear, or like what information allowed you to come to that conclusion? You don't combat them, you don't overcome their objection. What leads you to thinking, who said, or something like that, because it then makes them doubt it. And then as they're saying how dumb it is,
Right, they
out of their
have
own mouth, they hear, okay, that's actually kind of dumb. But more importantly, you're willing to listen and all that kind of stuff. So I broke down to her, you say, you know what makes you think that? And the person said like that, interesting. What would you say is affordable to you? Or if they're not a homeowner or anything like that, and they bring that up, you just ask open-ended questions, you know, well, what do you think it would take? Some people think you need 20% down or whatever. So it gives you an opportunity to look like an expert when you give them the right information. But it also gives you the opportunity to look like an expert in general. I can't tell you how many referrals I've gotten from people with bad credit who could never and probably will never buy a house. Because when their friend says it, there's this guy that actually told me some good information who's an expert. I'm not just another realtor, I'm someone who has information of value. And if they care about their friends, they send it to me because I have information of value. So don't let that be an obstacle. It's not about them transacting as much as it is about the connection in the relationship. And another good example of that is I did do a consult. One of my thank you cards that I sent this week was to someone from Facebook. We went to the same church, the big massive church. So never saw him, never knew him. We were mutual friends on Facebook. And they hit me up because of the things that I post. They knew that I was a realtor, and I did a consult with them, a buyer consult. And maybe 2 years later, they came to me and said they're ready to buy. They had jacked up credit, debt, recently married. You know, that wasn't a good lead. But because I took the time with them to educate them, et cetera. And so I sent them a thank you card the other day, letting them know that not everybody does that. I really appreciate that. And all that kind of good stuff. And so that's how gratitude and that winning mindset, sending letters of gratitude is actually helpful. It's been a long time. I'll probably eventually sell them something again or something like that. But in between time, I'm gonna make sure I stay in front of them. All right. The main thing to point out here is 58 touches, 36 of them you can automate. CRM does this. You can even automate some of the birthday calls and texts. You can just slide down and set it up and all kinds of stuff. You've got a lot of people. Only 22 manual touches. But literally, take a look at all that. And those 22 manual touches probably take you less than 45 minutes a year. Spend 45 minutes a year on each person in your database that will pay you handsomely. This alone is worth $200,000 a year in gross commission. So pro level, when you get a little bit more experience and all that kind of good stuff, you can do Ninja. And once you do Ninja, there's an option to get something sent to them in the mail twice per month and once per quarter. I've signed up for it. It's been great. And the marketing team at Berkshire takes care of it completely. And they just take it out of my bills, $2 per person. And twice a month, once a quarter, 28 touches a year. So when you get a little bit more experience and you've made some money and all that kind of good stuff, start reinvesting into your business. And the first place you want to reinvest is into your sphere. Another way to make sure you stay in front of people. And then for A-plus clients, you want to have a goal of eventually building at least 50 A-plus clients. These are people that always send you referrals, always think about you, are the most likely to send a referral, or you know that their network is something you want to be a part of, so that when you see those expensive referrals that it's going to be worth it. So same thing, but do some pop buys. So I have a couple people that send me multiple referrals. So I've done pop buys, drop by with a gift. So what that might look like is they've got kids, give them a pumpkin and a pumpkin carving kit right before Halloween. Lunch, dinner. Just recently took a friend out that referred his parents, and you know they own like 40 properties. So we bought them drinks. And a gratitude gift. So like when you send that letter, you can add a gift inside of there, something like that. But again, this is for A-plus people because they have sent you referrals, or you really, really want to be in their network because you know that they know people who are well-to-do or something like that. So if you really want to take it to the next level, A+. So over 80% of my business comes from some sort of referral, and trust me, build your database. So you hear all the time, work your sphere. Here is the plan, the actual plan that I follow on how to work your sphere. Do this. If you have questions about scripts and all that kind of good stuff, Wendy's great. Just told you Phil Jones what to say. And gave you some ideas of easy conversations. On the handout, you'll actually see some notes that I have at the bottom that kind of go along with the guidelines, just to kind of help you as well, knowing what to actually do. All right, so it's worth, like I said, a couple $100,000, just a couple $100,000 if you can build 200. I have 209 that I have mailing addresses for. Actually, I think I got 186 that I have mailing addresses for. And I was at 209, I'm up to 2 something. All right, so one of the things that I've realized, because one of my goals this year is to double. And so one of the things I want to do is double my sphere, because that's where the majority of my business comes from. And I'm doubling down, all that kind of good stuff. So one of the things that I realized when I was reaching out to some other people to try to engage with my sphere even more is I got some feedback from one of them through the grapevine. So what I'm doing, one of the ways I'm doubling is I'm cheating. I'm using my wife's sphere. She knows a lot of people. Someone made her sphere my sphere. And I reached out to one of them, and he reached out to her. And hey, I hadn't heard from Robert since we last saw y'all, and talking about real estate. And I was like, oh, okay, I should probably, smooth it out a little bit versus, jumping right into real estate with people that I haven't connected with in a while. So there's something called 8x8. 8x8. So you want to grow your sphere. So that guy I had mentioned who saw the golf going on, and he came down the hill and he saw me and said, hey RJ, that's when I went by in high school. That's how long I know him. He's going into my sphere, got his contact information. I need to follow up with him. But the way that you get somebody in your sphere is an 8x8 plan. An 8x8 is 8 touches over 8 weeks. Touch someone a lot, it's like dating. You put on your best behavior on the front end. And then put them into your sphere plan. That's how you can really win somebody over truly. So what I decided to do for the people that I'm trying to re-engage with and step up my sphere is I'm calling it a gratitude plan. So I'm sending a minimum of 3. I'm trying to get to 5 handwritten thank you cards a day. For people that don't have mailing addresses, I'm sending video. That's week 1. Week 2 is following up. Is this my sphere in here? Okay, this is a different. That's a different plan. My assistant put a different plan on there. But basically, I'm sending a gratitude letter, handwritten letter of gratitude. I'm following up with just making sure that they got the letter. Actually, no, that's not. And then I've got one where I'm going on making sure I'm going to find them on social. Then I've got another one where I might call and talk about just making sure I have the right information, their birthdays, checking in with them. And then, goes on for basically 8 weeks. This is just a general 8-week plan. I've got the wrong one put in here, but long story short, you can come up with your own plan of, okay, a call, a text, social media, automatic email, making sure that they're on some kind of search. So for example, the 4 thing, talking to dreams, your client or your friends that don't own a home, have bad credit, all that kind of good stuff. Oh man, well, get that promotion, or if things are right, where would you live? What kind of payment is comfortable for you? Do you mind if I set up a couple of searches for you so you can at least see what homes look like in that price range in that area? And then boom, you set them up on an automatic search, and twice a month they're getting properties. And that's a touch that they're gonna see. I don't care if they never own it. They're hearing from you about real estate, keeping you on their mind. So introduce people to your sphere with an 8x8 plan, and then reclassify them, put them into sphere once the plan is done. So it's been very helpful for me. Every day I have something to do, and it's going very, very well. Crazy story, I have a client that won the lottery, she didn't have money for her down payment, and the rules changed. They wouldn't let her boyfriend give her the down payment. And the week before closing, she literally won the lottery for the amount she needed for her down payment.
Wow. That's
I met her at an open house. It was my listing. She walked in on the way to lunch with her boyfriend and told her the house or whatever. And so it's not someone that I knew, but because I did the open house, I had the opportunity to meet her. So I'm trying to re-engage the relationship, sent her the letter. And week 2 was real easy because I checked to make sure she got the letter, and we were texting, and she said, pick up the phone and call me and telling me all kinds of stuff. And my cousin who lives with me has X amount of dollars and wants to buy an investment house. Hadn't heard from her, hadn't talked to her since I sold her house 3 years ago, but I'm trying to re-engage and grow my sphere. And that was a conversation. And she said, yeah, I'm saving up too because I want one. All right, friends, trying to make it easy. How am I on time? Okay. All right, so friends. So you want to contact your friends, right?
Not bad.
Yes, you do. You want to contact?
Can we go back just a quick second?
Sure.
Your 8th week, you said reclassified.
So the 8th week is so like on one of my plans, I have the promise on something that I'm building or whatever. Is you make people a promise. So week 8 is I promise to do this, that, and the other for my clients and that kind of stuff. Just want to look at what kind of level of excellence we're trying to reach as a team. And if you ever have any needs, that's when I technically try not to ask for anything until week 8. So that's my week 8 on my sphere, getting my sphere in gear gratitude plan. But the touch on week 8 can be whatever you come up with, but it's step 9 and 10. So it's 8 touches, but there's different steps after that. So the step would be you reclassify them, put them into your sphere after that.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so my dad gave me a phone book. It said starting the A's. Call people, ask them if they know anyone looking to buy or sell. Remember what I said works? Work. But you can also work smarter, not harder. Calling random people.
I don't even think it's no phone books no more.
It's all online.
Really?
Okay. All right. So let's go to the next slide. But friends, here's something real simple for you to understand when it comes to who to contact. If you're thinking about, okay, I've got a winning mindset, I've set my winning schedule, and it's come hell or high water. You just commit to it. I'm going to do some sort of prospecting 2 hours a day. No excuse. Who are you contacting? Which I'll go over one thing here in a second, but I'm going to tell you, friends, this is something I recently learned that's very helpful when contacting friends. So, friends obviously is who you know in your sphere. That's what the F stands for in friends. The R is records. So if you think about who to call, who to prospect to, all that kind of good stuff, think of records. So let's say you've got past clients, giving them a call. But more importantly, let's say you go through the records and you find out who bought in 2020. And some of those people have buyer's remorse right now. And give them a call, and the conversation is just wondering how that's working out for you. I know things were crazy when you bought. Just seeing, how'd that work out? You think you made a good decision, or were you rushed? Or asking an open-ended question, something like that. But basically, the point for R is going through records, and that's a script that you can use when talking to people in a situation where they bought during the pandemic. Because some people literally do have buyer's remorse, and if they bought in 2020, they still have enough equity to sell. We can also do that in the subdivision. You can take a look at records of, hey, I want to be in the subdivision or this price range. There was a recent sale in there. You can go circle dial around that neighborhood. I, in friends, is industry. What past clients have been in a similar industry? So a member of my team used to work at Delta, and so that's an industry. So she's going through and segmenting her sphere for all the people that work at Delta. There's some subdivisions near Smyrna where people work at Home Depot. So when you're thinking about who do you call, you can think of industry. You can think of firefighters you may know, and different programs for firefighters. You think of teachers, and down payment assistants. You can, again, this is all about, okay, who am I calling? Think industry. What industry can I go to? E in friends stands for e-marketing. So people that will visit your website, connecting with people from ads and all that kind of good stuff. So you're going to want to start in the spring doing open houses. And open houses are a great way to add a few hundred people to your database each year. If you get 10 people per open house, you do 10 to 20 open houses. That's 100, 200 people that you've added to your database. You don't just follow up with them after the open house. You don't just follow up a week later, and unless they block you. Keep following up with them. So I've got some old leads, where 4,000 or random people that I've met over the years that I'm going to stay in touch with. So from e-marketing, email campaigns and stuff like that. The N in friends is for networking. So with networking, especially single people, man, y'all got all the free time. Y'all can find Google, look it up, ask ChatGPT what events are going on for networking this week. And you can set a goal of going to 2 to 3 networking events. If you've got to eat somewhere and you don't feel like cooking, can you network? Alex did a great job. We had a meeting with a loan officer, Prosperity, and he had to park his car in front of a restaurant that he probably should not have, but the people were nice and let him do so. And he went in and made sure he gave them their business card and all that kind of good stuff, and networked with people that were in the restaurant for being nice to them. But set some sort of goal of networking. That's another, when you're thinking about what am I going to do for prospecting if I'm committed to doing a minimum of 2 hours a day, think networking. What places are you a member of? Churches, past jobs, clubs, fraternity, sorority, all that good stuff. Networking. But also have a plan for it. Okay, I'm gonna go to at least one networking event a week, at least 2 a month or something like that. Just make the mental commitment, look it up, research it, put it on your calendar and do it. And then have an 8x8 plan. Okay, I met this person networking. Let me make sure I find them on social. Let me make sure I thank them for exchanging information. Be interested in people and interested in what they're interested in. They mentioned something, or this guy, I could say, you know, hey, did you find any other golf places, something like that. It's about building the relationship, and that's how you do it. So one of the goals that I have for second quarter is to add a minimum of 2 people per week to my sphere of influence. If you work 50 weeks in a year, that's 100 people. If 1 in 7 people know someone or they themselves are going to buy or sell, each year you add a minimum of 100 people, your business is always growing. If you're not adding people to your database, your business is dying. So you always want to add people to your database. And that is honestly a really good goal if you want to be committed to success, is adding 2 people per week. And when I mentioned having your goal and your accountability, so the way that works is, all right, here's my goal of 2 people per week. Accountability, someone's looking at, hey, which 2 people did you add? And then the mindset of, I've got a report of whether or not I added someone to my sphere this week. Makes your mind look for people to add to your sphere this week. And if you have a plan, KV4 will allow you to build a campaign that will remind you, hey, you just tagged this person's sphere, so here's all the things that you got to do. And each week it will tell you, and it's real simple. You log into KV4, here are your tasks for the day, and you just have the mindset of what we started with is work. It's a 4-letter word, work. And that's how you work. The first thing which I skipped in the presentation, all right, the first thing I skipped, which is something else to kind of go over, because the winning schedule, what do? You're at your desk at 9 o'clock. You're going to prospect for 2 hours. What does it look like? So number one, you log into your CRM and see who the new leads are. all that kind of good stuff, because you might have had an ad running or something happened, or someone texted you. This is something I'm trying to get better with. Someone texted me and making sure I get them into the CRM. I got a lead actually last night from someone, it's my mother's friend, and she is a retired real estate agent. And she remembered me, always liked me, all that kind of good stuff. She was like, yeah, so I'm retired now. I'm just gonna send my stuff to you. Relationships, they go a long way. And I gotta make sure that I put her as a new lead into my CRM. So the first thing you wanna do is make sure you look at your CRM for new leads, and any new leads that you may have come in for your email or your text or anything like that. Make sure that you're putting them in there and categorizing them and attaching the appropriate follow-up plans and so forth and so on. So boom, you sit down, you look, all right, cool, Pamela Brown sent me somebody, I add her to my CRM. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a look at my hot leads. My hot leads are people that are looking to do something within the next 30 to 45 days. You really wanna try to shoot for contacting them every day-ish, every other day. So if you have an active client, you wanna make sure you're serving them, contacting them. I've got one that sent me an email about a property they're interested in going to the open house on, for example. Okay, cool, when I got to the office this morning, I got that email. I had that correspondence. KV Core is really good. At number 3, if any of your leads are looking at your website, all that kind of good stuff. So before she emailed me, I had actually already looked at that same house, wondering if she would like it, because KV Core gave me a list of things that are similar to what she's looking for. So you want to take a look at your CRM and see if you have any alerts for any of the people that are prospects you're working with, or if anybody has, I've got one guy right now I got to follow up with, and it shows me when they look at, they log in more than 3 times or look at a house more than 3 times, you get an alert. Break the call and text and say, how you doing? Because I see you looking, or just how you doing? Oh yeah, I did see this house, man. I was wondering if I can get pre-approved for it. You know, you never know how that conversation can go. But again, you make this happen. You go down this list. When I sit down and I'm prospecting, this is what you do every day. What leads need to be set up on a market search or a home value search. So that's a, when it gets to that part of the plan, like I just showed you the 8x8 plan, or it's a new lead or something like that, or you can even set up, I think, KV4, and it will show you who doesn't have any auto searches right now. You want to make sure that everybody is on some sort of automatic search every day. Because that's an opportunity, that's free prospecting, that's a free touch that you can set and forget until eternity that they're hearing from you twice a month with properties. All right, cool. So that can take 5 minutes, it can take 30 minutes, depending on, you got, you know, it's a Monday after open house, you got a lot of new leads. And then you take a look at your sphere of influence contacts. So you want to contact at least 5 a day. So I mentioned already about contacting them, what to say, and depending upon how big your sphere is, if you do 5 a day, that gets you through touching everybody once a quarter. Then you want to take a look at 5 non-sphere of influence contacts. So that might be leads that you need to nurture because they're in your CRM and they're older. It could be people that need a nudge, or your chosen lead source for prospecting that day. So I mentioned friends. If you've got records of homes just sold in this neighborhood, I'd like to sell the next one, and reaching out to the neighbors, or industry. Let me look up some sort of industry, and all the classes that Wendy does. So reaching out to people that you don't know that aren't in your sphere, try to have a goal of, even if you're just going to Home Depot and it's a contractor and you start a conversation and real estate. That's a contact with someone that you didn't previously know. Have the goal of 5 of those per day. All right, so 15 minutes of responding and engaging people on social media. So like I say, I'm gonna give you the code and you guys can text and you'll get a link to that video. And then 15 minutes reviewing birthdays and events and all that kind of good stuff. So 15 minutes on like Instagram or whatever, and another 15 minutes on like Facebook reviewing, major milestones and stuff like that, making sure that you contact people that way every day.
Do you schedule your posts?
A lot of them, yes.
Okay, so how much time do you take during that, like for your week or your month?
So it depends. I'm switching up my schedule. The things I've learned how to improve my posts, and I have probably way too much content, but I'd rather overdo it. Plans. And the change that I have made to my schedule is that on Wednesdays I'm going to do some of the scripting and whatnot. So for example, if you're going to do a video on Instagram or YouTube, or you're going to do it and it's going to be part of your newsletter, you want to think ahead of what you're going to say. So scripting and planning an hour or two on Wednesday, and then batch reporting on either Wednesday evenings or Saturday morning. So maybe an hour before work on Saturdays, getting as many videos done as I can.
Okay, and then that's enough for like a week or a month or?
It depends, and so I cheat because I have someone doing the editing and all that kind of stuff for me. And so you can go to Fiverr
Yeah.
and cheat as well.
And I'll just add, on the back of your resource center, you know, we already have where you can schedule all of your social media posts for the year. So you can sit down and do it all for free, and you can plan all of your social media. If you see social media posts from me that say happy spring, turn your clock back, gardening, those are all plans for the entire year. So I don't sit down every month. Videos, Robert is so excellent at doing those videos, but use your free tools to schedule your posts already out for the year. I think Nicolette showed us in our last business meeting. And then also too, you hear Robert keep referencing that CRM, that KV core, and you can schedule a lot of things out there also.
So an example is I recorded a video about the home inspection process. So when I put somebody under contract, I had somebody buy a house and get mad because the house had termites, and no one told him to get a termite inspection. That's when you start to get busy. It's real easy when you're selling one house a month or one house every now and then to be on top of everything. But when you're prospecting, going, moving, you might skip a detail. So another good thing for video is record things. And so in my video, whenever I put something under contract and you get it, I'm telling you the termite and how the process works, and I cover every detail. So two things: if you don't get a termite and you want to blame me, I have records, I told you. And then number two, I just bought myself a 10-15 minute conversation. I just bought it back and can spend that 10 to 15 minutes prospecting, getting new business. So video is amazing. And KV Core has some video things in it. You can even just you can even put it in KV Core as part of your plan, and the link to you doing it on YouTube. There's all kinds of things. Alright.
You gotta go back to the D and the S and friends.
Yeah.
D and S. So D is directory. Directory. So directory is, let's say there's a magazine and someone's advertising in it or something like that, or a business directory or something like that. And the script is, I stumbled across your details in the blank magazine, and I'm wondering, how's that working out? Wait, I'm a local business owner, and I stumbled across your details in the blank magazine, and I'm wondering, how's that working out for you? Easy, simple script. You can say, I'm gonna call 5 business owners a week. You can call them 5 in a day, 1 in a day. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But directory, and that's real easy. And then so obviously you show interest in someone else's business. Oh, what do you do? Cool. Can we stay in touch? Maybe I can send you some referrals in the future. Reciprocity. Maybe I should send this guy some referrals too. But that's a really good script, for instance. Okay. That's D. D is for directory, and I think S is same name. So same name. So I don't know who to call them, whatever. Who has the same name as you? Same last name, same first name. Look up in some directory, same name. But think about that, and it's crazy how things work, because I end up inevitably at least 2 times a year with no less than 2 people that have the same name. So I'll do it with multiple Ericas. I've got multiple Anthony's. I got Alicia and Alician, or whatever, and it just works like that. So I just did deal with Corey, and what other Corey's gonna know? I need to see how they're doing. Just ran into someone named Bob, and I think I know another Bob, let me see how he's doing. So like, there's no excuse for saying, I don't know who to call. You can use friends as an acronym to say, all right, cool, I'm gonna come up with who I'm gonna call because I know I'm called this other person named Wendy. Same name, so think of who has the same name. All right. All right, so I already told you about adding 2 people. That's kind of a bonus. All right, win the week. This is the last kind of bit. But win of the week is something that I'm starting and going to invite everyone in to be part of the accountability and a part of what I know will move your business forward. It's about steps forward that will snowball. And so win the week. If you're open to it, let me know. I'll add some mentorship in it and all that kind of good stuff. And it's basically how do you win the week? So try to get 4 points. You have 1 personal goal, 1 prospecting goal, and 2 business goals. 1 personal goal, 1 prospecting goal, and 2 business goals. And so what that does is there's so much to do. There's so much going on. But if you can keep things simple, it's like there's a guy that lost 50 pounds. And the way that he started to lose the weight and build the habit to go to the gym is he would go to the gym. But then leave. He'd literally walk in the door and leave. And after a week or 2, he's like, well, I'm here, might as well lift something. That's how he built the habit. And it's a true story, but that's how psychology works in the human. And so if you can break it down to its simplest thing, okay, my prospecting goal is to call 1 sphere. I call 1, why am I not just go ahead and call 2? Well, I'm comfortable calling 1, let me call 2. Start somewhere. And so just 4 things. All I gotta do this week is, what do you have to do? In your mind, you know there's a crack to this stuff you have to do, but if you just break it down to 4 things. Something for yourself, 1 prospecting goal, and 2 business goals. That will move your business forward. If you want, I'll create a spreadsheet, we can all record, hey, here are my 4 goals for the week. Who did it? Who didn't do it? All right, so history fact coming up. Do you know why when you enter an elevator, you turn around? Anyone know?
Because
Everyone else is doing it.
because the doors.
Everyone else is doing it. And so that's how human psychology works. My wife, she did working out with a friend who was doing workouts in the morning at home, having to get in shape after pregnancy and, blood pressure, all that kind of good stuff. She has put me to shame because she wakes up at 4:30, 4:45 every morning, drives 30 minutes to the gym and works out. And I gotta get the kids ready. Because I used to say I'm waking up and working out, and I wouldn't do it. If I do it, I do a little sorry workout, or I do it 1 day a week, not the rest of the week. But the key for her is it's a group of people that are committed to working out. She has a relationship with them, and she's competitive. And I'm part of this group, I'm part of this gym. So association, that's one of the things that happens with Berkshire is hanging some successful agents there. Well, you join and partake as part of that group. It's human psychology. You don't even think about it. I turned around, I don't know why I turned around the first time I got an elevator. It's because I saw other people turn around. So if we come together and we say, oh, hey, we're gonna win the week, here are our 4 goals, who's participating, who's doing it, that's gonna be a huge key that can help build that momentum, get you guys moving forward. If everyone's doing it, I wanna invite you guys to that. The other thing, life is tough, man. Real estate got tough for me in 2009, 2008, 2009. It was real tough. And what ended up happening is I thought about doing insurance for a little bit. You get a temporary insurance license, and there's this thing out there. I can't remember the name of it, but the thing that they would say on Fridays is who's eating good. Because you make sales and they went to nice fancy restaurants and brag about how much money they spent on the bill, which restaurant you're trying this weekend, all that kind of good stuff. And I was the same. Who's eating good? Because they had all this money they were making. So I thought about that with the menu of success. If you want to eat good, what is it going to take for you to eat good? So here's something else that we could do that could be part of making you successful. So what I consider winning, think about it as a test. You got to get at least 80 or something like that. And for any goal, you don't want to have a goal that's so easy you do it like that. And you don't want to have a goal that's so big you can't do that much of it at all. But you want to have an obtainable goal that's a stretch. And so for this, if you can get 80 points out of these 100 available points every day, you will crush it. You will crush it in real estate. For those that have been successful, you will double, triple, continually. So 5 SOI conversations, I gave some tips and advice on that, it's worth 25 points. 5 new people conversations, I already gave some tips on that. Challenge yourself, how can I meet 5 new people a day? Or have a conversation with 5 new people a day into real estate? Like literally checking out at the checkout line. Or, I doubt the woman at Piccadilly could buy a house, but my dad would always ask the woman at Piccadilly, picking up our plates, they were looking to buy or sell. And you better believe that she or someone she knew eventually was looking to buy or sell. You can have, that's a conversation. Have 5 people conversation with Alex, what you did with the handing out your card to those 2 ladies at that restaurant. That's a new person conversation. Do that consistently. It's 25 people a week. I don't care if the numbers are 1%. Return on that investment of your time. 4 follow-up, so you start doing open houses, you start having opportunities, you start making those commitments with people that, hey, when you're talking to them, and I'll follow up with this, making sure that you follow up. Who can I follow up with today? Who did I speak to the other day? I need to follow up with that new lead I got. Okay, cool. Minimum of 4 follow-ups a day. 4 affirmation. It's not a point per affirmation, but write your affirmation. So I talked about mindset and all that kind of good stuff. And number one way to really get something ingrained into your mind and believe it is to write it. So I sell 100 houses and whatever your goal is. One of mine is double. I energetically execute with excellence. I do what I say. I can't remember what my other 2 are, but I write that 4 times in the morning. Your affirmations, your mindset, get your day started off with affirmations. 2 videos a day. So we've talked about videos a little bit, different things. You can do it in an email, send out a video, go on Instagram, do some sort of video. So one of my videos that counted yesterday was I pulled up to the office. Y'all know I was working, because I put it on video. So that counts, build that habit. And then 2 letters of gratitude. I'm averaging 3 and I'm gonna try to get it to 5. Get 80% of this done every day. Your business will explode. 80% every day. Build a habit. If you make that commitment for 1 to 2 hours of prospecting, I've given you all kinds of tips for what to do during your prospecting time. That's what's going to explode your business. I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. I want to just end, and Robert, thank you so much for your valuable tips. And we see you working, and we see the results. So thank you for sharing everything with us.
Let me get this. Send a text to 470 236 5883. And what you're gonna text is 52, which stands for sale a week. You're gonna text 52, the number 52, numerical 52. Text that to that number, and you should get an auto response with links to at least two, maybe 3 videos.
Just the
3. What are they titled?
video training on reclaiming your schedule, video training on daily prospecting plan, and video training on friends.
Perfect. All right, so we need to have a schedule. Somebody better explain it than I am. Send you that video. What is the second one?
Video training on daily prospecting.
Daily prospecting. So I went through that a little bit, but when I talked about how to do it on Facebook and just different things, I've got a video recording of me doing a little bit more detail into how to do that. And then the one on Friends is from Phil Jones. Very impressive. He does a way better job of explaining and giving scripts and examples of how that conversation goes when you follow that Friends, when you're saying, okay, I'm committed to not just saying love, but meaning it. But how do I do it? He does a really good job of explaining how you do that. Okay.
Awesome.
And then also, I want you guys to just get your creative juices flowing with KV Core. See how simple that was? How many things can you do and put into your advertising to get that going? You can even kickstart auto plans that, okay, I could have set it to say, remind me in a week to follow up to see who wants to join mentorship. Thank you for coming to the class. I could have that as an auto email and text and stuff like that. I wanted to show you that as well as an opportunity to get creative with KV Core and use it and help you with some of those touches that you don't have to do, but get done to keep you in front of people.
That's perfect. And you guys, just to reiterate, and Robert, all this information is so valuable, and I want to take a minute. We come to this room every month or every week for our classes. And for some of you that are new, our isms that are on the board, that are on our wall, are a lot of our sayings from Robert, one of Robert's mentors, our past president and CEO, Dan Forsman. These are all the things that he said and believed. And one of the most important things I think Robert showed us today is nobody goes uphill by accident. You do not get to the top by accident. He started off talking about work. So we've got some work to do, and we're all here to support you. And the last tip I'm gonna leave you with is, everything that Robert touched on with KV Core and is showing you how easy it is to work. If you go on the back of your resource center, there's a 90-day plan there, and it'll help incorporate some of those things that Robert has for you. So that the tips that he's giving you today, you can implement that 90-day plan with your KV Core. And then also remember too, Blake is here for you. I'll have the 2 days, a couple of days, he's gonna be here in April to help support that. But most everything he's giving you today, no charge, no fee. It is just simply the mindset and doing the work. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, and our next business meeting, keep in mind next week a few of us in this room are going to be at our convention in Vegas, meeting people from Hawaii, Idaho, Delaware, Cancun, all across the country. 50,000 agents are coming together, and then the next following week we'll have our business meeting here, the first Tuesday in April. And our guest will be from Quick Buy. If you guys are not familiar with Quick Buy, it's just another tool that you can use when you're on listing appointments. And so she'll be zooming in as our guest. And we're gonna have a great second quarter. These tools that Robert has given us, everyone in this room I know is going to meet and exceed their goals, and you've all shared your goals with me. And so Robert, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And pizza is here, so just hold on tight, and we got some lunch for you. Thank you, guys.
For those going to the convention, think about 8x8 with people you meet. You want to get referrals from them, be a part of their sphere and who they think of when it comes to someone moving to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Some of my referrals were from other agents.
And let me tell you, everybody in Berkshire Hathaway across the country is already thinking about 8x8. We have an app for the convention, and I think I've already connected with over 50 agents from across the country. I know Antonio is also, Skylar is also. So yeah, if you guys have a chance to come out, 8x8 is across this country in the Berkshire Hathaway family.
And that's how you win people over. let them know. Playing it out.